Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. We're on to episode 90. There's been no number 90s. I actually looked up today, fun fact, we only have 3 players left across 2 separate numbers. Now, don't you jump in and spoil it. I can see you thinking, don't bother, McGinley.
Okay.
But we've only got 3 players left, so I don't know. People are going to have to come up with a fun wee mini game for us to start the episodes with when we pass number 100, but we'll deal with that when we come here. I'm joined today by the man at my left-hand side, Ryan McGinley. Ryan, how are you?
Things are good, yeah, can't complain. Happy to be back on the podcast. It's good that we've got another one after last week. We're back into the swing of things. The season's just around the corner and I can't wait.
Almost there. It's madness how quickly it has creeped up, because we're now getting proper, like we said, it was going to be a summer with nothing to talk about. And yet here we are, a summer that has been loads to talk about. And to the left-hand side of Ryan McGinley, it's the birthday boy. Are we going to sing? No, don't bother. No singing. Happy birthday, Kieran. Happy birthday.
Cheers.
How you doing?
I'm alright.
Tired?
Shattered.
Same, mate.
Another year older, mate.
It's like, you're fair.
I've actually aged a year overnight.
Oh Christ! I know I've been shattered all week, but it's been a fun week. It's we had Red Hot Chili Peppers, of course, Barbie and Oppenheimer. Got them watched. So it's been I've kept myself occupied through the week. I don't know if any of you seen the films yet.
I've seen both of them.
You've seen both. I think
Yeah.
we'll come on it in the Twitter questions, because there has to be some serious Barbenheimer analysis done.
Yeah.
To the show. Kieran's just saying, get me up with
I've only seen one the whole way through, and one of them was very self-inflicted at the time that I watched it at night.
I know, I seen your tweet, like, oh, I'm waiting to see Barbenheimer, and I was like, is that right? Because it was like 1 a.m. or something.
You said you went to see Oppenheimer. I went to see Oppenheimer at 11:10. I'm sure we'll get on to it in the
aye, we will. We've got a lot to talk about. The season is right round the corner. Celtic have been active in the transfer market, and we've got a lot of quizzes. 2 quizzes as usual for you today. We're on TikTok now. You happy seeing your faces on TikTok?
The amount of people I've had mail me saying they see me on the For You page.
How about you, Ryan? You feeling the stardom of being
Do you know, I'm only on TikTok maybe once or twice a month, I swear.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll watch that guy, that Arsenal American fan that knows everything about football.
Oh, aye.
I spend a disgusting amount of time on TikTok.
It's not
I do
healthy.
my share.
I know.
Screen time.
If I was to check, then
I say I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on that Instagram Reels, which is just the same.
Oh, do you use that?
Not by choice. It hooks me in, and then I'm in there for hours.
I think I've ever used Reels.
No, that and shorts, even though I've tried to start uploading some of YouTube shorts, but I'm like,
I feel like YouTube
That's
Shorts
it.
is for children.
aye.
Instagram Reels is for the 25-year-olds of the world.
I know, and
I am
TikTok
a
is for
child.
the brainwashed like us.
We're in the brainwashed middle ground.
Aye, that's it. Go and follow us over there. We're trying to take things up, new graphics, new stuff. You've seen the Tim Tac-Toe and all that jazz. You can go and find us there if you like your short form content. It's at the Sellik the Thunder. Make sure to do that. But let's get into talking about Celtic today. Should we just start off with the news that this week Celtic have completed the signing of Mike Nawrocki from Legia Warsaw? That's done. Last week we of course discussed Celtic exploring the possibility of signing Nawrocki, but it's finished. The deal has been completed, and Kieran, Celtic have their new multi-footed centre half.
That one certainly went down well on the TikTok.
It is, aye. See, a lot of people call it just the standard of the rest of the podcast.
No, that's pretty much it.
Don't watch the full episodes. But we have actually signed him. Kieran, are you happy to have him through the door?
I mean, it's the one area that everybody was sort of decided on, that it was like a unanimous thing that we needed another centre-half option in, because I mean, you've seen the performances of people like Kobayashi near the tail end of last season. Granted, they never got a lot of appearances, but I think there's a reason for that. then you're looking at people like Stephen Welsh that could be out the door. No, that I think he should be an option in the first place for Celtic, to be honest. But I mean, it's good to get people in. And there's also talk of getting that Dutch boy, but he's away to Sampdoria. And
It looks as though that's happening, isn't it?
They got a bid rejected last week. Fabrizio Romano was kind of tweeting about it, but I think it'll happen eventually.
Aye. So, but it's an area, as you said, Keir, that Celtic had to strengthen on. We do have, we're lucky that we have two players, the quality of Cameron Carter-Vickers and Carl Starfelt. But there has been, and I know we'll come on to you, Ryan, because I've seen your article earlier on, but there has been a lot of naysayers surrounding Starfelt. There still is the people that can't shake that. So, Keir, do you think this is something that will maybe quieten that portion of the support a little bit?
But no one Starfelt.
Well, just Starfelt maybe not being good enough, that we now have somebody that might come in and take his place.
I mean, I think it's healthy to have the competition, to be honest. But I mean, judging off like Twitter and that, you've seen people showing the ideal starting 11 and Starfelt's not in it for next season, and they've not seen this boy kick a ball. So it's like Mark was saying it in the chat the other day. There's still the pure agenda against Starfelt, I think, but I don't know. I think you need to wait and see some performances of this new boy before you can start putting him in ahead of Starfelt. It's good to have the option there, and you hope he is first team quality.
Because I don't see a world in where Starfelt just deserves to be dropped, Ryan. I don't think that's merited, and I know we've spent, we're talking a deal that's around £4.5-5 million for Liverpool, which is a lot of money, and it's the kind of money that you would typically spend on someone to start at Celtic. But like, it's harsh just to suddenly be like, Starfelt's away.
Yeah, because Celtic spent round about the same money on Starfelt to begin with 2 seasons ago, so they might even see the two of them as being of similar quality. You need. I know you need continuity in that position, but you also need competition as well. And having 3 centre backs at the moment who could all come in and do a job is great for Celtic. It also means that potentially they could play a back 3 if wanted. I know Navraki's played in a back 3 against Brendan Rodgers when he was playing against Leicester for Legia Warsaw, so he's got that experience. I know he can also play as a right back as well, but I don't want to be fitting players into different positions. That's not their main position. Let's just play players where they're supposed to play. Thank you very much. Celtic shouldn't need to. They shouldn't need to adjust their team accordingly and put players where they're not supposed to be. They should have players that are available in every position. But yet, Navraki, I'm really, really excited to see this guy. I've only watched YouTube clips, so that's all I'm going off of. But 22-year-old, physical, imposing. He's a goal threat. He can pass the ball. He's good with those sort of chipped passes as well, sort of getting forward. I know Carter-Vickers can be good at that as well. Van Dijk was good previously, but I think it's harsh to say that Starfelt will just go out of the team. I wrote about it earlier on in the week, and I was saying that he's been a mainstay for 2 years. He's been half of one of the best defensive partnerships I think we've seen at Celtic in the modern era. So I think he deserves a wee bit more respect.
He does, and listen, he's stepped up in big times as well for us. There's been times where Cameron Carter-Vickers has been injured, for example, and there is this. I always see this constant kind of stream of thought in my YouTube comments that people saying that Cameron Carter-Vickers carries Starfelt. And I can understand it to an extent and saying, I think Cameron Carter-Vickers makes him a better player, but I don't think anybody necessarily carries each other. I think that they just have such a good partnership together that it only makes sense that when one of significant quality drops out, we do look a little bit weaker at the back, Kieran, because you take one of them out, you're replacing them with someone like a Kobayashi, a Welsh. I don't know if people just expect them to suddenly become the player that's missing.
And I think it's like they complement each other really well. And I think a lot of people don't really just notice that and take it at face value. As you said, this is always like a pure disaster when we have to drop. When we don't drop when somebody gets injured. And I think it's just when you see two players, like as you're saying, it's such a solid partnership that obviously it's not going to be the same flow to the team. Because everything stems out for playing out for the back. So these, like the two guys at the centre half position, are going to be the ones controlling play for a lot of the time. Because the amount of times teams just camp in, like a lot of their play comes for the centre halves, the amount of passes they get off each game. So I feel like with Starfelt, I think he does get a rough time. It doesn't help his at certain points.
Yeah.
But I think it's obviously magnified as in the centre half position, especially at Celtic, because we've seen some proper duds there in the past. And I don't know if people are just kind of desperate to make him to be a dud. Like, even though he's proved people wrong plenty of times, but then one mistake, like everybody jumps on the bandwagon again.
I know it's like that kind of feeling that people are like, they want him to do badly so they can be like, oh, I was right all along. He's no good enough. He's no good enough. But I don't know. Just get behind him.
This has all started from him coming out and playing a game a day after isolation. And between that and the AZ Alkmaar goal, or the own goal that he scored, it looked so clumsy. And then automatically people have made a judgment of a player that they can't shake whatsoever, even though I don't think anybody should be talking in that way after that performance of both Carter Vickers and Starfelt in that 2-1 game at Ibrox. I thought any doubt that anybody had about those two being an incredible pair was killed off.
Yep.
Especially Starfelt. I really thought that was the beginning of his Celtic career properly. And I think he's pushed on since then. Yes, he does make mistakes, nobody's denying that, but you've got to remember he's playing out of position as well. If he was on the other side, I don't think he'd be making nearly as many mistakes. And I just feel as if you give him too much time to think about what he's doing, he will make a mistake. But if you allow him to do things just naturally, he'll do it. I just think he's not that he's the scapegoat, but I think he's the person that people will blame if something bad happens.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Nawrocki's here to make him better. That's the main thing. They push each other, and it gives Brendan Rodgers options. Now I feel a lot better having someone like him there who's, as we say, we've not seen him kick a ball. We can't exactly say he's this, that, or the next thing yet, but it's just that kind of security knowing that, like, okay, if Vickers isn't back for the start of the season, at least we do have our two centre-halves, and there should be one that's trusted when you spend that sort of money on them at the end of the day.
That's the thing, you brought in a new defender, but now Carter Vickers is back in full training, so, happy days in that position. I'd prefer to have maybe one more that's sort of pushing as well, but that's just sort of like a dream scenario. I think 3 is quite good for the time being.
Yeah. Any further comments on Nawrocki before we move on to the rest of the transfer window this far? Kieran, any thoughts?
No, I think it's been pretty much covered.
Aye, Nawrocki, welcome. I hope he's as successful. I was about to say as successful as the last Polish Celtic player, but that was Patrick Klimala, and I don't hope he follows those footsteps. There's been a few, granted. I was going right back to Arthur. I was hoping
I thought you were going to say Brozek. I completely forgot about Klimala too.
I think we've got to forget the few that have actually came in between Arthur Boric and now Nawrocki. It's nobody really meant to plan, but this time I've got a good feeling.
The Legia Warsaw Celtic connection, I know the two teams don't really get on off the park, but in terms of a business standpoint, they've sold us quite a few good players.
Yep,
so
they have.
Hopefully
keep it up. Keep it up. On that note, Celtic did complete the triple signing of Mike Nawrocki, as well as Kwon and I forgot his name now, Yang. I was about to say Guan, but I don't know where I'm getting that from. Yang and Kwon, they have both signed as well. We spoke about them in some depth last week, so be sure to go check out last week's podcast. On top of the transfer talk, the rumours are still kind of peddling along that Celtic might be in for Dominik Livakovic, and I don't know. What I wanted to talk about from that is, does it strengthen the conversation that Celtic are in the market for a keeper? Because if they are lingering around Livakovic, then maybe there is something to be said. Now, just to clear my thoughts straight away, I don't see Livakovic signing for Celtic. I would love him to do, but my dreams are that he would. But Kieran, with all of that, what's your thinking? Do you think that Rodgers is in the market for a keeper then?
See, I don't know if I think he probably is in a market for a keeper, but I don't know if it's just because someday his qualities became available that's why the interest has been piqued. Is the interest going to be the same for going out and signing a young goalkeeper for 2-3 million quid? I don't know. Maybe they kind of like the idea of getting this statement signing, but obviously it's not going to happen because he's in very advanced thingies with.
Well, I think the last update was something like very advanced.
I think there was talk that he's there for the qualifiers. Like remember when Van Dijk was at Celtic? He was there for the qualifiers, and then once they're out or if they're through, then they'll sell him on. But it's a dream scenario bringing Livakovic to the club. I think 28 years old, he'll probably be looking to make a bit of money, whether that be in Saudi Arabia or in Turkey, I would say. So yeah, I would absolutely love him at Celtic. He fits the bill for a goalkeeper for the next 5-6 years if you could hold on to him for as long as that. But yeah, it's a bit unrealistic. I would love to be proven wrong, but I just feel like this is agent talk in order to put the fee up.
Aye, I mean, because it's a fee that is. It's one that Celtic could realistically hijack. You look at it, I think it's something like between 8 and 10 million euros, which if Celtic wanted to go above and beyond to secure a player of his quality would be perfectly feasible. But I don't know. I just feel like it's not. I don't know. There's just something about it. You're like, don't really follow where it's coming from. I don't know. It's just kind of thrown out there, just out of nothing. But I mean, I hope it signs forward as to what Celtic are maybe looking for. Like, we do need a goalkeeper in the next year or two. Like, Joe Hart is getting to the. I mean, you think that Jack Butland's a better keeper than Joe Hart, so by all accounts, we do need a better keeper. I don't see it being him.
Yeah, I think Celtic need a new goalkeeper just now, personally. I made the point last week that St Mirren game, when he conceded those 2 goals off of Curtis Main, that was when the alarm bells were going for me. Big red flags were coming up with regard to Joe Hart's goalkeeping ability. It's not a slight on him. He's been a great signing over the past 2 years, but Celtic have got to be planning for the future. They're planning for the future in every other position. Why not in goalkeeper?
What do you think is realistic for Celtic, Kieran? I mean, I know that you can't shout out names because that's just impossible, but what do you think is the next step? Do you think they try and get someone who is in a similar mould to Hart, a similar mould to Livakovic, younger? Like, what do you think is the next step?
When you look at it like that, that's 3 different people, like 3 different players at 3 stages of their career. Like Joe Hart coming to the end, seeing it out. Livakovic about to enter prime years, and then you've got like a project signing of a young goalkeeper. If we're being realistic, I think that's the most likely, a project sort of signing. If we're going to sign a goalkeeper, a young goalkeeper for abroad, I don't really see us going for another. Like, I couldn't really name anybody now in the same sort of vein as Joe Hart. Like, who I would say, alright, he's somebody that's past his best.
Go for Foster again.
Like, I think that's the only one some people might shout for. But nah, I don't think. I think the project one that we know nothing about is the most likely. I think for the goalkeeper position.
It's nuts when you think back. I was just thinking in my head there. The last 10 years, our goalkeepers have all been old. Like in the last decade, Craig Gordon came in at getting into the older years. Well, he signed. What age was he when he signed?
It was more the injury that made it seem.
Aye, so he came in. We knew who he was. He was getting on a wee bit, and then Forster comes back on loan once again, getting on a wee bit. He was a wee bit older, and then Joe Hart comes in when he's getting on a wee bit. I feel like we've not had a young keeper in a long time.
I love the airbrushing from history that Barkas has got now.
Who?
Are you?
Who we talking? Who?
Shocking.
Who's that?
Do you know what? I just hope that Celtic. I hope that Celtic aren't put off by buying young goalkeepers because of what happened with Barkas. Not every goalkeeper is going to be like that.
Do you know what that worries me is? Like, I don't know what it's going to take for the next goalkeeper to come in and get off to, because if they come in and they don't get off to like a flying start and make world class save after world class save, are we going to get the Barkas treatment really early?
You look at even when,
granted he made some howlers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But you look at David De Gea when he joined Man United. That first season was full of gaffes. Honestly, it was just full of clanger after clanger. But
gaffes.
Yeah, I know. I
was gaffes. Was he just having a gaff?
I'm just thinking of David. Maybe David De Gea will be having gaffes now, considering he's a free agent.
I was like in my head. That's a good laugh actually. Like somebody was in my live stream last week. And we're talking about keepers, and like De Gea's a free agent. I'm like, yes.
He's going to play for pennies.
Good, I'm like, De Gea, it's a free agent, yes. Why do we not go for him? He was on 600 grand a week at Man United, man. Like, it was like, there's somebody the other day was I seen it today as well. I don't know. I don't want to sound cheeky, right? I'm not meant to come across as entitled or anything, right? But there's some people who literally just can't grasp like the concept of realistic transfers and weight. Somebody's like, free agent signings today, Wilfried Zaha. Wilfried bloody Zaha. What, you think and then somebody else who threw in along with him, Jordan Henderson or something. No, because he wasn't a free agent. There was another one. I'm like, wait, there is a thing called wages. That was my exact reply. I'm like, some people just completely erase that. But I know what you mean. You're back to your original point on De Gea.
Wouldn't take Zaha anyway. No, I'm kidding on. De Gea, what was I saying? Yeah, he made mistakes in his first season at Man United, but they stuck by him, and Celtic fans would need to do the same if a new young goalkeeper was to come through the door, which is, it's a difficult sort of gig to get into in terms of coming in replacing Joe Hart, who has been established the past 2 years. But I think that this is where Celtic need to be getting that a young goalkeeper to come in, command a place for 3-4 years, and then Celtic can sell them on for profit, like in every other position.
Yep. I'm sure there'll be plenty of players out there, Kieran, but it's obviously just down to the recruitment now to try and identify them, find the right one.
I mean, I've seen people try to link us with a Japanese goalkeeper.
Was it the one that played against us by any chance?
I don't know.
It's Suzuki that was getting linked to Man United, I'm sure.
Aye.
Ah.
I don't know if that's another unrealistic one because I apparently rejected Man United, and I seen somebody on Twitter say, "Oh, let's go for him." I'm like,
He's rejected Man United, but he'll come to Glasgow. Maybe. It's something that we need to just keep an eye out for, because it's just a position that, I don't know, it always feels weird signing the keeper. It's just, don't know. There's never anybody you can be like, realistic, go for him.
Here's just a question, just a general question for the two of
Right,
you. At what point do you feel as if you can go out and say that Brendan Rodgers has been sufficiently backed in this window? How many more signings do you think before that would be the case? Like, how many more signings before you would be content with who Celtic have signed all in?
see, I don't know about from a personal point of view because I need to sit and think about that, but like I think the general consensus amongst a lot of the supporters is he still needs to get about 2 or 3 now, and I think a lot of people want to see big money spent. But I mean, he's came out and said before, like no long ago, that spending big money doesn't guarantee you're going to buy a ready-made player. Like, so I don't know if people are expecting in the quantity or quality, because I don't know if people are thinking just sign a few more, or would they rather we just go and sign one more statement player? Like, who's the man that, like...
I think that if we were to, it's obviously not going to happen now and stuff like that, but I'm just using the name as an example because he's getting touted with a £45 million move to West Ham, right? But Celtic went out and did sign a McTominay-esque player. That would shut everybody up, I think. I think everybody would be content. But then if we didn't sign him or someone of that kind of like known quantity, I think people still want like another 3, as you said. So I just don't think there's any winning, to be honest, because like it could be one that makes everybody happy, but it could be 3 because it's no somebody that we.
I don't think there's any outcome and everybody's going to be happy, to be honest.
It's like, we're the most fickle fan base on the planet. Can I be real, Ryan? My opinion is right now, I'm happy. I'm happy. I think he's been maybe not backed as the original thought in my head would have been. I thought that we'd maybe have spent more money, would have maybe went for a kind of marquee signing, etc. By this point, but he's got a big squad to work with. We've lost 2 first team players in Jota and Moy, and we've signed 5 now, 6. So you know you're surpassing the outs with the ins. I think that I would be really, I'm happy, I'm content right now, but to make me really happy, I think we're maybe 2 players away from me being like happy with that window.
So,
shut the door.
So would you be content if they shut the window? So right now, if they shut the window tomorrow, would you be content having not replaced Jota with somebody of the same ilk?
I would say my thought would be, I had a phrase in my head there, and now actually it's just slipped right as you said that. I think that I would be confident in what the team does and where we go, but maybe I would be slightly underwhelmed that we didn't quite replace Jota with somebody that big.
I just don't know where are the numbers coming from then. The Jota get double digits in goals and assists last 2 seasons.
He's maybe playing in the right, isn't he? So Abada fills in for where he was playing, and then we've got Maida on the left.
Maida won't be playing through the left though, because he'll be playing through the middle.
But will he?
That's what Rodgers is saying. You know,
but will he? Is it all mind games, right?
But I've got to be honest. I wanted better than Maida at the left on the left wing.
I'm not complaining.
For me, Maida, that's a downgrade. If you take, I know we sold Jota for 25 million. But I would expect somebody to be coming in that could put up those numbers because they've got the money there to do so. Like, say, for example, if Tete comes through the door, I'll be delighted. If that was the case, that would be a perfect signing and that would make sense.
And then they're still over a month.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not panicking whatsoever. I feel a lot better after the Rocky, but I still think they've got 2 or 3 more big signings to make.
Well, it was actually going to be the next, before we moved on to like the half-time portion of the show, I was actually going to end the conversation with the season round the corner. What do we need next? Like, what left do you want from the transfer window? Off the top of your head, Kieran, what would you like?
I mean, obviously, incomings. Ryan makes a good point about getting. I think if somebody like Tete was to sign, I think that would be maybe the statement signing people have been looking for a wee bit. But I think as well, a conversation needs to be had about trimming that squad because it is fucking massive.
As many players have shifted as I thought.
No, but
I thought there'd be more.
I seen somebody post the other day about how many foreign, like non-homegrown slots we've got for the Champions League, and as it stands, like 3 people having to get left out of like the current crop, and it's like that's excluding your Ayetis, Sorrows, like so. as it stands, it's quite a bloated squad.
Yep.
And we're talking about needing a few more signings in. We need to get a few people off the books. When you people, you want to get somebody like James McCarthy off the books, but he counts as homegrown.
Yeah.
I think they've got to get rid of him.
Aye, they need to keep homegrown players. They need to make sure they make the
Because we
quota,
really don't
don't
have
they?
a great deal of them.
Aye, exactly. And we're not
Unless-
bringing many through
Unless you
either.
start registering people like Vata and Summers and
Aye.
that for the Champions League. But
And then that wastes spots.
so I don't know. I think a big few weeks ahead, I think, and try to get people at the door like your Ayetis, your Sorrows, just people that are needing to be in that squad.
There's certainly people as well who I think that are sitting around that could do with maybe, I don't know, like either loaning them out or just cutting all ties, or, you know, like as you said, trimming the wood. But like guys like Scales, is there a plan for Scales at Celtic? Like, is there a reason why he's sitting around the squad?
I think he'll be back at Aberdeen before the
Like,
the
surely
month's out.
they've
I'm
got
just
to-
saying, if we were playing quarterfinals, he would be the Owen O'Connell with the Rodgers second time round,
Yeah.
having to play in the
That is true.
quarterfinals.
Bang on assessment, by the way. Bang on assessment.
Either that or Quan would play centre half.
Aye.
Remember Beaton
Jesus.
did that.
God, oh, don't, man. Well, I'm trying to get used to life with foot. You know, Peter Orn's going to play at centre half this week away, right? What about you? So, for me, because you've kind of touched on it, Ryan, I'll say for the rest of this window, I think I'd like Celtic to get a full-back, a goalkeeper, and a winger, and I would be
glad-
delighted.
I'm glad you said fullback because I think there's somebody that could solve two problems in one.
Aye,
I think if he's available, maybe Celtic could go back in for Josh Doig
think so.
because he's homegrown and he's a good player and he's done it at a really good level in Verona. I think that would be a smart
Aye.
signing.
Aye.
Left back, if I'm sure he plays.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he could play at right back as well. You know, be one of those players that could
Yeah.
cover both. I'm just thinking for homegrown Scottish players, he would be a great fit because that is a problem area, and I think that would be alleviated a wee bit if you brought in somebody like that. He's went away from Scotland. I think he knows his trade better.
Played
now.
at a higher
Played
level.
at a higher level. Why not sign him while you can still afford them?
Yeah, I'm waiting for I doubt there'll be any Hibs fans watching at this point. Like, but sometimes you get the
They'll
odd
be
one-
watching football at the moment.
Well, I know, but that was exactly what I was going to say because I'm like I wouldn't be half surprised if we got Hibs fans saying how can you play playing at a higher level? He's playing into the arse end of the Serie A and all that. I'm like, you just pipe down. You've got beat half plumbers tonight. Let's just let's calm it. Who was it they were playing again? What was the name of the team?
Inter something Escalades for Andorra. I think it's that.
We can't say too much. We get beat off at Red Imps.
Aye, true.
I was watching the game. I seen the pitch immediately. I was like, this has got Lincoln Red Imps
I
vibes.
thought the exact same. Was it because of the track or was it because of the rocks just
I
ahead
think
as well?
they've done it for
Aye.
me, man.
I
So
didn't
it's just-
watch
it was
it.
getting played at that sports
Was it on the
centre.
telly? Aye.
What BBC iPlayer.
Ah, right.
It's a 4 o'clock kicker.
I would have gave it a watch, but I'm glad I didn't, to be honest.
shocking.
Finished Peep Show for the 45,000th time. Yeah, we'll be here still anyway, talking about transfers all up to the end of the window, pardon me. So stay with us and you'll get all the opinion of the panel, and Callum, who's not here today, will be here as well to chip in at points. But he's ready for a half-time quiz because
Ready as
we've got another one, a new one again today. We're
Brilliant.
taking up another level this
Has
season.
this got a name yet? Or do we need to
It's actually
put it to the
no.
viewers
Well,
again?
Kieran did give me a stand-in shitey name, but when I say shitey, I mean shitey. It was poor. Anyway, so basically, I'll explain the concept of the game. So basically, there is 2 goals. Player 1 and player 2. You will get the chance to choose what goal you want. I will then play the snippet of commentary from said goal.
Brilliant.
But the name of the player who scored the goal will be constantly blanked out from the clip.
Okay.
You've got to tell me who was the player and what game was the goal from. It'll be some iconic pieces of commentary, sometimes maybe some less iconic bits of
Celtic.
commentary. Always Celtic. You've got to use your head,
Noggin.
Your noggin.
That's the word you were looking
That was
for.
what I was looking for. Thank you. So it's a very basic concept. Whose goal was it? You tell me. So Ryan, because last week you were a bit deprived of.
I'm gonna name this quiz. Whose goal is it anyway?
I like that. I like
After
that.
whose line,
Aye,
is it
I
in?
like. Aye. Do you know what? I can take that. There we
Since
go.
I get absolutely butchered with the poll last
And
week.
it was actually quite close. I
No,
thought. I don't
I
know
know,
how
but
it ended.
it's,
It was, but when I like was editing, I was
Loss is a
like,
loss, regardless. To be honest.
So whose goal was it anyway? Ryan, since you've named it and since last week you didn't get to take part in the last portion of the show, would you like goal 1 or goal 2?
Goal 2, please.
Oh, you're going goal 2, which means Kieran Old, you're going to be up first. Is your headphones working fine? Yes.
Yes, they are.
Are you ready to hear your goal?
Yep.
Okay, so goal 1. Let's see if we hear this. Okay, Kieran Old, here you go.
just knew would have that in him. He's a big game player, isn't he?
So that's your first listen. I will give you an opportunity to listen again if you'd like.
I think I know it.
You think you've got it?
I don't know it. I'm very sceptical.
Oh, well.
But it was the bit at the end that made me think it was.
Right.
Do I need to say?
You're meant to only
I
get
can
10
see the goal
seconds
in my
to
head. I
guess.
can't even think.
You're meant to only get 10 seconds, but for the first time I'm going to allow us a wee bit of breathing room. But would you like to fathom your guess?
Do it another one.
Another listen.
I just had a wee think.
Okay, here we go.
Forrest takes over. And he's still going. Stunning! Spectacular! Sensational! Celtic respond quickly, and you just knew they might have that in them, and you just knew would have that in him. He's a big game player, isn't he?
See you thinking. There you
See,
go.
I've went
That's
thinking
it.
about 3 different.
So
games.
that is your
So
whack.
mate,
That's
I'm
all you're
struggling with
getting. Obviously the gaps are when his name is
the goal
mentioned.
scorer.
So would you like to guess?
I mean, I think they played Rangers,
Okay, right.
and I don't know. Was it the 2-1 game in March 2019 when Kent scored against us, and then we went and scored again at the end?
Who scored the goal?
Edward.
Right.
Or the first goal
Are
in
you,
that game.
are you going with that?
I'm going to need to because I don't have a clue.
Right,
I don't
so-
think it's that.
So you're going with Edward
Edward.
against Rangers at Ibrox. Mm-hmm. Right. Let's play it with the player who scored the goal. And
give
let's
my
see
guess?
if you got it. Do you want to give a guess?
I thought it was Dembele.
You think it's Dembele?
I don't know why.
What game?
You know the one where it's like from the outside, just outside the
When
box.
they
It's sort
won
of,
each in the
sort of no two.
Hugman game in 20.
When Scott Brown plays the ball over the top to Dembele and equalises.
The one that Sinclair scores as well.
Nah, the one in the Invincible season when
Right.
Dembele brings it down and fires it into the roof
Right.
of the net.
Well,
Yeah,
here
that's
it
what I was
is.
thinking.
Here is the goal in all its glory.
Forrest. Rogic takes over. And he's still going. Rogic!
I thought you were going that one. I really thought that you were going to get that
No
one.
chance of that second goal, man.
Tom Rogic against Rangers at Ibrox when he made it 1-all.
Broke David Bates' in.
That was the
Exactly.
last game he played for Rangers.
Exactly.
that injury kept him cropped.
So the first ever one.
good.
Yeah, that was a good guess though. Good guess. I like that it's tricky though. I like that it's tricky.
This is my favourite quiz. I love this.
Do you like this?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Ryan
absolutely
McGinley,
love
the
this.
chance to take the half-time quiz this week.
Okay.
Here comes.
Okay.
Armstrong. Rogic. Here's Forrest. Thought about the shot. Threads it through. Equalises for Celtic with 17 minutes left. They get what they deserve. It's 1-1. Absolutely got what they deserve, Celtic. It's a really calm and composed finish by
There you go.
Can you play it again, please? It's a European game.
He's one that played one more time, ladies and
BT
gents.
Sport commentary.
Yes, is that our man Rob on
McLean,
commentary?
yeah.
It is, aye. Here you go.
Strong.
A second listen.
Rogic. Here's Forrest. Thought about the shot. Threads it through.
This is it.
Equalises for Celtic with 17 minutes left. They get what they deserve. It's 1-1. Absolutely.
You got it. You got it. What is it?
Cal McGregor v Bayern Munich.
Cal McGregor v Bayern Munich is Ryan McGinley's guess. Would you agree? Would you have agreed with him?
I think so. No. I wasn't actually thinking that, but now that you said
What were
that,
you
I think
thinking?
it is. I honestly don't know. I was actually running through every fucking European game in my head.
Right. Well, here's your answer. If it will play.
He's been immense. Armstrong. Rogic. Here's Forrest. Thought about the shot. Threads it through McGregor. Callum McGregor equalises for Celtic.
You're
with 17
absolutely right, Ryan McGinley. Callum McGregor against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. That's
We played so well that night.
oh, we
were
deserved
so
so
unlucky.
much more. Hey, was it Xavi Martinez? Aye. What a player to concede to as well. But there you go, Ryan McGinley. Well done.
Who was the Bayern Munich manager at that point?
Was it you, Pinkus?
Was
or was it Niko Kovac?
Was it Ancelotti? No,
It might have been. I think it was Jupinkis. I don't know. I
think it
don't
was
know.
Ancelotti.
Oh, because that's for somebody to research. We'll move
look
on
it
to the
up.
next show. But let us know what you thought of that. Did you enjoy that, boys?
I loved that.
Aye, bit
Absolutely
different.
loved it.
Aye, well done. Thank you as always to Kieran for one of the fantastic quizzes. And as we're now naming it, whose goal was it anyway? I like that one. Does it tell you who the manager was?
I'll need to look up their manager from 2017.
Well, you can do that while I take us on to the next part of the show. This season is right round the corner, ladies and gents, but we've got one more friendly to go. We've then got a testimonial on
Pincus.
Tuesday. Was it your Pincus?
Yep.
Thank you. We've got a testimonial to follow after that, but Saturday, Kieran, you're looking forward to seeing Celtic take over Dublin.
I mean, it would have been good to go, but
Deal.
the price of flights was fucking ridiculous, and I don't even want to imagine the price of a hotel in Dublin for a night. So it was a no-go, but I'm looking forward to watching the game. What is it, a 2 o'clock kick-off it will be?
Yeah, I think so.
That was something to do on Saturday during the day. But
I'll be at the sprint race.
I mean, it'll be a decent test, I suppose.
Yeah.
Getting to play Wolves, I mean, we're not the best last year. But
it's a shame it's probably the most boring team in the Premier League.
Did Doherty go back to?
Oh, did he go back?
I thought I seen that in my TikToks.
Permanently or on a loan?
I think it's permanent.
It was one of my
Flexible.
TikToks like
Transfers you didn't know happened this summer. I never knew that myself. He's a good player as well. I like him. I think he was unlucky.
Obviously, it was meant to be happening in South Korea, and Hwang Hee-chan plays for Wolves as well. So,
Yeah.
but it would have been great to have all the South Korean players go to South Korea, for that game, especially the new players that just came through the door. They wouldn't have even needed to travel. They could have just stayed there. We'll get you there, boys.
Time to sort of stuff. Random thought. You ever wondered what it's like to be see, like if you're a football player and then just suddenly you're moving across the globe? Like, what's the moving process like? How much do you take? How much do you leave behind? How much can you even bring? Like, how hard a process is that? Like coming from Japan to Scotland?
Actually, I listened to a podcast. What's his name? The goalkeeper, Foster.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's his first name?
Mark
Ben
Foster.
Foster.
Ben Foster.
Ben
right,
Foster.
okay.
He was talking about how every player in the FA gets a set fee for like moving costs and stuff like that. So they get that all. I mean, they've got enough bob between them probably.
I know,
they're getting that extra money for all their moving and sort of relocating all their stuff.
Right.
It must be some process.
Oh, it must be. Because imagine like walking onto a plane and you're like taking your whole life with you. I can't take that through, pal.
no, you just take quiz and then end up shit mail.
It must take some amount of time though. It depends. Obviously, you don't know how long you're going to be in a place. But Wolves is a good test for us, Ryan. Let's quickly touch on the second friendly. We did manage to pick up a win against Gambol Saka. Did you see much improvement in that second performance?
Clean sheet, so yeah, there was an obvious improvement between the two games. Gambol Saka, I don't think were as good a team as Yokohama. You could tell that even by watching the game. Gambol Saka, their goalkeeper in the first half looked like an absolute world beater. So many great saves. That save from Maeda's shot that he pushed onto I think it was the post he pushed it onto, was an absolutely outstanding save. Celtic played so well in the first half. The second half was a bit dreadful to watch, but Bernabei does Bernabei things really. I think I seen the same tweet about 5 or 6 times, including from myself, saying that is the most Bernabei goal you will ever see. If any goal was to sum up Bernabei's style of play, or maybe lack of a style of play, then that was it. Because it was a terrible touch. I don't even know what he was trying with it, but somehow karma comes back, but in a good way. Good karma comes, and he gets his rewards for running and
busting a gut.
and chasing a lost cause. The Brendan Rodgers comments after the game were quite funny. He was kind of laughing it off. He was like, "It's amazing what you can do even with a bad pass like that." You obviously like that determination from him, but it was good to get a win after the defeat against Yokohama. Good for the fans that were in the stadium, who shelled out all that money either. Whatever way they travelled to the game, and it was good that they got a win under their belts. Yeah,
there's only so much discussing you can do around friendly games. After all, they are friendly, so I wanted to look at the bigger picture in relation to them. We are creeping up now to the start of the season. We're the time this podcast is out, we're 8 days away from the opener. Kieran, are you excited? Do you think we're ready? How does it stand for you now a week before kick-off?
I mean, I think we're in a good position. I mean, obviously there's a couple of positions where you're looking at like right back. You've not got a right back in a position like that. with centre half, you were kind of a bit worried as well, but with the new signing coming in, you're hoping the next 2 games gives him a chance to sort of bed in, get a feel for the team, and then hopefully be all guns blazing come next Saturday. But I'm really excited for the football to start back. It's felt like a fucking long summer.
It's been a very, very long summer. It's been an eventful summer, but the lack of football has been really difficult. And without a competition or like a tournament in the summer to properly watch, I felt really starved without football. I think in terms of Navraki, there's more of a chance of seeing him on Tuesday because I know he wasn't in training today because he's getting stuff sorted. I think he's relocating his whole family to Scotland, so he's getting a couple of days off to sort of to sort that out between how many people are coming over with him. But I think Tuesday would be the first time to see him. But you know, it's another good opportunity for someone to stake their claim, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's a massive chance, and it's one of those ones that, you know, we spoke about Kobayashi not taking his chance maybe when he was offered. Big chance for Navraki, Kieran, because if Vickers isn't quite there, I know he's training, and we do decide to give him minutes, that would be a massive chance for him to be like, right, I'm here and I'm the guy.
Because I mean, if you look at the rest of the season, especially the centre half position, if Starfelt and Carter Vickers are firing, it's going to be hard to get into that. And that's not, you kind of want your new signings to have a chance to get a game, and they're not sitting on the sidelines for months and just waiting for bit parts, because at the start of the season, I think there's going to be too much rotation. Once they find a rhythm, a starting 11 that works, I think it's going to vary too much for it. I don't know if you see as mad a rotation as you would sometimes get under Ange in certain games, but I feel like we've seen it with Kobayashi near in the second half of last season, and he got 6 appearances, but that, if he'd played better he would have got mer at the end, but like you're putting him on for like wee half hours here and there. You kind of want them to just get the chance to get a few games under the belt and show what they can do, because I think throwing them in the deep end is really the best way for a centre half to survive up here.
You've got to be in it in the biggest moments, because that's when you show your qualities as centre half, I suppose. In Scotland, it's not like you're throwing duties all the time. It's centre half. Some games you might not be doing anything at all, so being thrown in the deep end, Ryan, might be the best for him. Yeah,
absolutely, I would agree with that. And it's the same for goalkeepers, you could say, in a way. They could be sitting there for ages and not face anything. Yes, they're going to have to play out from the back for certain things, but they might only have to deal with one shot. It's the same for defenders. They might only need to deal with 1 or 2 defensive actions, but they've got to be switched on for the full 90 minutes, and if they're not, then more often than not the team will concede a goal because of that. So yeah, I think it's good for players to get thrown in at the deep end. For Navraki, I want to see him in the team as soon as possible, but I also want to see Carter Vickers back in the team. I don't want him rushed back, but if he's 100% fit, there is no reason why Carter Vickers should be on the bench. He should be playing games. If Carter Vickers is fit, he plays. That's just that's the bottom line with Carter Vickers, basically.
The bottom line, and Ryan McGinley said so.
Take it.
Aye, you can be the stone cold of this show. You might need to go bald though. I don't know how you feel about that. Done it once.
Yeah, that's true. Lockdown hit me hard, but I'm bald in the facial hair department now, so you know.
Shaven, that'll not be me anytime soon.
Nah, not the baby face.
No. Walter White was close enough for me, thank you.
Iconic.
Next week, I'm going to be like asking for your predictions. Like, I want to know who you're like. So have a think, go away. I want to hear your like, who's going to be your player of the season, your surprise of the season, your fucking flop of the season, whatnot.
Flop of the season.
I might not ask for your flop of the season, but like, I'm going to ask for all your prediction sort of stuff next week. But is any of you's gone to the testimonial? And he's getting a ticket?
I've got a ticket. I've got a ticket. I don't know if I'll be there yet, but you know, if I'm there,
you might get death threats, by the way. You might just say yes. I was getting a stinking for not going.
For not going? That's a Celtic servant, Celtic legend.
Aye.
If James Forrest wants to give me £22, I would go out and have a drink with him.
And then I'd think about the game.
I understand that there is a charity element with this testimonial, but this should have been on the season ticket.
It should. Thank you. Aye. It should be. Whatever happened to the free friendly? Back in my day, we used to get one.
Back in the day.
Aye. We used to get a free friendly. Don't get that now. It should be on a season book. And if it was in the season book, I reckon it would have a good 40,000-50,000 going.
Does that mean if the League Cup, if Celtic get a home tie, they'll get that for free?
Buggery.
I know.
No chance. No chance. Fucking hell.
Cost of living crisis.
No chance of me getting a game for Celtic next season than getting that for free. That's saying something.
That is saying something.
But I know he's a great player and all that, but I brought up the podcast last week. I'm like, go and show your thanks. My thanks is paying his wages. It's me that pays the guy's wages, basically. I pay my season book, I pay my tickets. It goes into the club. Where do they get the wages for? Us, people like us.
I'm just not in a position to put out £22 on a ticket for a glorified kick a bit.
I know, I know it's like there's no celebrities or former players. Like it's basically a friendly, but
I'd love to see like Gerard Butler against Athletic Club. Come on, you do a big job for
right, Gerard, then you go, son.
Gerard Butler, right? I don't know. This is way off topic.
Well, go for it.
I was talking about this in Muck the other day, right? Have you noticed in these past couple of films, he's just gave up trying to put on an American accent. He just talks in his mad hybrid, and he gets the writers of the film to just throw one wee thing in to justify him being Scottish. I mean, obviously in that film playing at the start, he's like, I hope you got some haggis, neeps and tatties.
You know my favourite, your homemade haggis, neeps and tatties.
And then the one that really pissed me off was in that film Greenland. It's like an end of the world sort of film. And
that sounds like a Jerry Butler film.
It goes on for like, not even kidding, on like an hour and 20 minutes. Don't even talk about why he's got that accent. And then like there's a scene where it's just him and his ex-wife in the motor driving along. He's like, remember when I met you? I was wearing a kilt. I'm like, how lazy can you get?
I know.
Is he thinks he's that big a superstar now that he can't just fucking put on an American accent? He just gave up.
Gerard.
I think he's now chasing the bag. And now I know Bruce Willis did the same, and things have came out. Obviously, he's dealing with his illness, but I don't think Jerry Butler's getting anything like that.
I know.
He's just chasing the bag, and God bless him for it.
He's done quite a few. He's been in an advert or two recently, as you know, as well. He's just out there all the time.
Did they have him in a kilt?
Probably, aye. It's like he's went proper. He's seen Drew McIntyre there, and he's like, I can do that. I can go on American television and talk like this.
Like, you see if
I love my sword and my kilt because I'm Scottish and I'm Drew.
That actually does sound like him. Well. see if Drew McIntyre was to like go out and do something really stupid and newsworthy, like in the real world,
like murder somebody.
Yeah, like Jerry Butler could play him. That could be the Oscar season for him. You know, I think he's trying to shake off that 300.
I'm the chosen one. Vince McMahon chose me myself when I was eating my haggis at the table.
Yeah, if you watch WWE, you know that is frighteningly.
You just hear somebody that much and like. I still remember this day off top, but going to get the questions in a minute or two anyway. But I remember we went to Braehead for the WrestleMania Revenge tour in like 2010, and it was Drew and his heel run, but it came back. It was the first time he was performing in Scotland, so the crowd's going nuts. Hey Drew and all the rest of it. He comes out and he cuts this promo and he's like, you know what, I've always preferred America anyway, because the weather's better, the women are better. And you're like, shut up. Go to Ibrox, get it. I'm done with. But aye, Gerard Butler. Why get him on the podcast?
Do you think he'd come on?
I think there's a reasonable shout. Gerard,
do you know what? You see, if you don't ask the question, you'll never know.
Nah, you'll never know.
Shy wages don't get sweeties.
That's it.
That's it.
Who would be your ideal podcast guest?
Oh, episode 100. Who's coming on?
Apart from Brendan Rodgers.
Don't know. Who would be your dream of Sellik the Thunder guest?
We need a random person though.
Stephen Merchant.
I like it. I like it.
Go left field.
I'll go for I don't know. I would like the two of them. I'd like David Mitchell and Robert Webb. I'd like the two of them.
And just force them to act out skits.
They just don't know anything about Sellik. They're like, you won't know. What about you, Ryan?
I don't even know. Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Can you imagine?
Well, I'm smoking in front of you.
I don't know.
We don't actually own the studio, Joe. You're not allowed to do that.
A vape you might get away with, but none of that green stuff. No,
I want to change man, so I don't want Joe Rogan on this podcast.
I would not let Joe.
We're too big for Joe Rogan.
Get Logan Paul on.
Logan Paul. I thought you were going to say Andrew Tate.
Theo Von.
Theo Von. Oh, what's his name? Bobby Lee.
Oh, I can't get that kind of off my For You page.
Who's the English guy that says pop the UAV when he's talking about the lassies?
Oh, Dan Bennett.
Do you want to get him on?
Aye, of course. Aye.
Jinkies, all that.
I don't know. I can't tell if it's like a character.
A gift to the gab.
I don't know. Maybe.
Fair enough.
The Winnie the Pooh of drunken game.
I hate when I can't tell if somebody's actually being serious.
They're playing a character.
Because you can't be that much of a dickhead.
Gerard Butler.
God bless Jerry.
Right, before we get on to the Twitter questions, score predictions for Wolves on Saturday. Go, may as well geese it.
One each.
I think it'll be a right boring game of
Yeah, me
football,
too.
you know. I think it'll be boring.
2-1 Celtic.
2-1. I'm going to go 0-0.
Wow.
I'm just going for it. 0-0.
Now, I need to write about this game. Please, I do not want a 0-0.
I'm sure Lopetegui and Rodgers will give enough to talk about.
Lopetegui, he is a man in crisis mode at Wolves. He is not. He is not happy at Wolves. They have not. They have not backed him. They have not backed. And he's such a good manager.
I know. It's criminal that Wolves actually have a manager at his level, and
it's kind of like the reverse of Aston Villa and Emery. I want to see. I want to see Lopetegui.
It must be depressing being a Wolves fan.